The House on Hollow Creek Part 1. The Arrival, asterisk. The Road to Hollow Creek was the kind of road GPS didn't bother to mark anymore, asterisk, twisting through miles of pine and fog. It felt older than the town itself, a forgotten scar in the woods that locals said led nowhere good. Asterisk, Evelyn Reed had heard all the warnings. Asterisk, she'd read the old newspaper headlines. Family vanishes in Hollow Creek Mansion. But warnings never stopped her. They only made her curious. Asterisk, tonight. Her car headlights carved two pale tunnels through the mist as she drove deeper into the Oregon woods. The air outside was cold enough to fog her windshield from the inside. She adjusted her camera bag on the seat beside her, the one with the sticker that read, asterisk, Abandoned America, Season 3. Asterisk, she'd filmed in decayed asylums, burned out hotels, even ghost towns. But this house, felt different. Something about the way the locals spoke of it, like the house wasn't haunted by ghosts, but by memory itself. Asterisk, her phone buzzed once. A message from her producer, Clay. Asterisk, greater than don't stay overnight, Eve. Just get the footage. Asterisk, she smiled faintly. Too late for that, she thought. The mansion appeared just as the road ended, an enormous silhouette rising from the fog, its windows black and hollow like empty eyes. The sign by the gate read, The Halpin Estate, 1978. She parked, stepped out, and the forest swallowed the sound of her door closing. Asterisk, the house loomed above. 3 stories of weathered wood and broken dreams. The iron gate was half-hinged, squealing as the wind moved through it. Somewhere nearby, a crow cawed a sharp echo in the stillness. Asterisk, Evelyn lifted her recording. Asterisk, November 12th, 2025. The Halpin property, she whispered, her voice steady but soft. Locals say nobody's lived here since the disappearance. Let's see what's left. The front door resisted her first push, swollen from rain and rot, then gave way with a long-grown asterisk. The smell hit her first. Mildew, wet wood, and something faintly metallic. Asterisk, the beam of her flashlight swept across a grand foyer, the kind you saw in old American mansions. A crystal chandelier hung above, its prisms coated in dust. A staircase curled upward into darkness. Her boots echoed as she walked in. Every sound felt too loud, like the walls were listening. Asterisk, on the floor. She noticed a child's toy, a small red truck, its wheels missing. It looked freshly placed, not covered in dust. Asterisk, Evelyn crouched. Okay, that's not creepy at all, she muttered. Forcing a nervous laugh. Asterisk, she took a photo, then looked up. Asterisk, the chandelier swayed slightly, though no breeze passed through. In the living room, time had frozen. Asterisk, furniture draped in yellowed sheets. A fireplace stuffed with ashes, and a single rocking chair facing the window. The chair creaked, slowly, back and forth. Her camera light flickered. Damn batteries, she whispered, shaking it. Asterisk, she scanned the walls. A portrait still hung there. A man, a woman, and 2 children, smiling stiffly. Their faces were clear except the father's. His eyes looked blurred, as if someone had smeared the ink. Evelyn zoomed in with her camera, then froze. Asterisk, in the reflection of the picture glass. Behind her shoulder, she saw movement, a shadow crossing the hallway. She spun around. Nothing. Just the empty corridor. Her breathing quickened. Probably my own reflection, she whispered. But her voice didn't sound convinced. She decided to check upstairs. Asterisk, each stair moaned under her weight. The air grew colder, thick with the smell of earth. On the landing, doors lined both sides of the hall. One, at the end, stood half open, the master bedroom. Asterisk, when she stepped inside. Her flashlight revealed an old cassette recorder sitting on the nightstand. Asterisk, the label. Handwritten in fading ink. Asterisk, March 3rd, 1985. Don't listen. Asterisk, she chuckled nervously. Sure, why not? She pressed play. Static filled the room. Then, a man's trembling voice. Greater than, if you're hearing this. We didn't make it out. It's not the house. It's what lives under it. Don't go into the cellar. Don't. The tape cut out. Silence. Asterisk then, in that same trembling voice. Right behind her ear. Asterisk, greater than you shouldn't have come here. Evelyn spun. The door slammed shut. Asterisk, her flashlight flickered once, and the bed was no longer empty. Something sat there, a figure. Half seen in the beam, thin grey-skinned. Its mouth open like it had forgotten how to breathe. Asterisk, she stumbled backward. Hitting the wall, asterisk, the thing tilted its head. Its eyes were wrong, not black, not white, just empty holes, like something had hollowed them out. Asterisk, Evelyn screamed and ran. The door flew open as she slammed through it, sprinting down the stairs. Her camera hit her chest, swinging wildly. Asterisk, the house groaned, walls cracking, lights pulsing faintly, as if the building itself had come alive. She burst through the front door and into the cold night air, panting. She turned back toward the house. Every window was lit. Every single one. Asterisk, and in each. She could see faces, pale, unmoving, watching her. She didn't remember starting the car. Didn't remember the road back. Asterisk, but when she finally stopped at a gas station 20 miles away, her hands still shook on the steering wheel. Asterisk, the attendant came out, frowning. You okay, miss? You look like you've seen a ghost. She opened her mouth to answer, then noticed something on her passenger seat. The red toy truck, clean new and on the side. Written in black marker, asterisk, come back. We're waiting. The House on Hollow Creek, Part 2. The return 3 days. That's how long. Evelyn Reed managed to stay away. Asterisk, she told herself she'd never go back, that what she saw wasn't real, that she'd hallucinated, or maybe breathed in too much mold. But every time she closed her eyes, she saw those faces in the windows, pale, waiting. Asterisk, and every time she looked at her camera, she saw something worse. Scene 1. The footage. Her apartment in Portland was small, 2 rooms. 1 desk, 1 nightmare playing on repeat. The footage from Hollow Creek loaded on her laptop, glitching like a corrupted file. But there was sound. A faint hum, like whispering under static. Evelyn leaned closer, paused the frame, asterisk there, in the corner of the video. Just behind her reflection stood the same grey figure she'd seen on the bed. Asterisk, only now. It was smiling. Asterisk, she slammed the laptop shut, heart pounding. Her phone buzzed again. Clay. Asterisk, Clay. Hey, got your clips? That ending was that seat. Please tell me it's real. Asterisk, she stared at the message for a long time, then typed back. Asterisk, greater than Evelyn. It's real. Asterisk, greater than Clay. Then we have to go back. Scene 2, back to Hollow Creek. Asterisk, by the time they reached the road again, Fog had already swallowed the woods. Clay drove, his hands tight on the wheel, excitement glinting in his eyes. Evelyn, if we get this on film, a real haunting, that's national coverage. Maybe even Netflix. Evelyn didn't answer. She just stared at the trees passing by, each one looking more human than the last dot. When the mansion came into view, even Clay fell silent. The lights were still on, every window glowing faintly yellow, like someone was home. But the power lines along the road, all cut. Scene 3. The house breathes the moment they stepped inside. The air felt wrong again, heavy, charged, like a storm building underground. Clay set up his camera on a tripod. All right, room by room. We narrate, capture bureau, no splitting up. But the house had other plans. The front door slammed itself shut with a thunderous crack. Evelyn spun around. Grabbing the handle, it wouldn't move. From somewhere deep in the house. The same child's laugh echoed. Clay froze. Was that? Yeah, she whispered. It's the kid. The one from the photo. Scene 4. The cellar. The floorboards groaned under their boots as they moved deeper inside. Evelyn's flashlight flickered over the old portrait again. Only this time, the father's face wasn't blurred anymore. It was perfectly clear. And he was smiling at her. A sudden thud echoed below their feet. Clay turned. Basement door. No, Evelyn said quickly. We don't but Clay was already pulling it open. The air that rose up smelled like rust and rot. He aimed his camera down the stairs. There's something moving, he whispered. Look. Through the lens. They saw it. Something crawling just out of sight, pale and boneless, dragging itself toward them. Evelyn grabbed his arm. We're leaving now. But the house had already decided otherwise. The door behind them slammed shut. Every light died at once. Darkness swallowed them whole. Scene 5. The voices below they stumbled down the steps, guided only by the weak glow of Clay's phone. The basement was huge. Dirt floor, stone walls, and tunnels stretching in every direction. Jesus, Clay muttered. What is this? A mine? Evelyn's voice trembled. No, it's a grave. All along the walls, wooden beams marked names, carved roughly, almost scratched. She ran her fingers over one. Helpen -1978. A whisper came from behind the wall. Help us. Clay stepped closer to record. Say that again. The wall bulged, just slightly, like something beneath it was pressing out. Greater than let us out. He stumbled back. Holy, the wall cracked open like thin ice. Hands, dozens of pale, grasping hands clawed through the dirt, reaching for them. Evelyn screamed. Clay dropped his camera. The red toy truck rolled from the shadows, stopping at her feet, on its side. The writing had changed. Don't leave this time. Scene 6. Clay's fall. They ran. The tunnels twisted, turning in ways that didn't make sense. Every corridor led back to the same door, the same basement stairs. Clay cursed, slamming his flashlight against the wall. That's impossible. We're looping. Evelyn's camera flickered on its own, static dancing across the screen. For one frame, she saw something following them, tall, black, moving on all fours like a broken animal. Clay turned his light behind them, and it pounced. He vanished mid-scream, dragged into the dark by something that moved faster than sound. His camera hit the ground, still recording, asterisk through the lens. Evelyn saw him, not gone, but standing, motionless, face blank, eyes hollow. He whispered her name once, voice layered with dozens of others, asterisk greater than Evelyn. Then the feed went black. Scene 7. The house feeds Evelyn staggered up the stairs, every step a fight. The house groaned like a living thing, walls pulsing, lights flickering like heartbeats. She burst into the foyer. The front door was open now, freedom, just steps away. But then she heard it, a soft creak behind her. The rocking chair was moving again, asterisk, and in it sat a woman, this time pale. Long-haired, her face hidden. Evelyn raised her flashlight. It was her. Asterisk, same jacket, same camera harness, same face, only older. The woman in the chair smiled faintly. Asterisk, we all come back, Evelyn. Eventually, asterisk the house side. The lights dimmed to black. Scene 8, aftermath. 3 weeks later, a sheriff's deputy found Clay's van abandoned near Hollow Creek. Inside the footage, untouched. The last clip showed the front door of the mansion, slightly open, and Evelyn's voice whispering faintly, asterisk, I'm home. No one has entered the Halpin estate since. Locals say sometimes, when fog rolls through the valley, you can hear laughter, a child's, echoing from the house, asterisk, and if you stop on the road at night, look close enough, you might see a faint red glow through the windows, a toy truck rolling slowly back and forth. The House on Hollow Creek Part 3, The Things Beneath. A 3,000-word horror continuation for American audience. Cinematic, voice ready and copyright free. Scene 1, The Search Party asterisk. It had been 6 days since Evelyn and Clay vanished. Hollow Creek was quiet again, too quiet. Sheriff Grant Holloway stood at the edge of the forest, squinting through the morning fog. The Halpin estate loomed in the distance like a blackened scar. Asterisk, whole damn town's cursed, muttered Deputy Lorna Pike, loading her shotgun. You really think they're still in there? Asterisk, Grant sighed. We found their van, their equipment, and half a boot print near the porch. I just want bodies. He didn't tell her about the dream. The one where he saw Evelyn standing in the woods, whispering something he couldn't understand. Her eyes were hollow, and something was moving behind her, something beneath the ground. Scene 2, The house breathes again asterisk when they reached the front gate. The sign, Halpin Estate, 1978, was gone. Asterisk in its place hung something else, a strip of cloth, soaked in mud, written in shaky red letters. Asterisk greater than we're still here. Asterisk, Lorna's voice trembled. Sheriff, that's fresh. They stepped through the gate. The fog thickened, swallowing sound, asterisk, by the time they reached the porch. The forest had gone completely silent. No birds, no wind, just the faint creaking of the house, as if it was breathing. Grant raised his flashlight. Evelyn read, Clay Harper, this is Sheriff Holloway. If you're here, he stopped. The door was already open, and from inside came a faint child's giggle. Asterisk. Scene 3. The recording room. Asterisk. They moved cautiously into the foyer. Dust hung in the air like smoke. Asterisk, the furniture was still covered. The same red toy truck sitting in the middle of the floor. Lorna crouched down beside it. "Sir, this thing's clean, like new." Grant's radio hissed suddenly, white noise filling his ear. Then, faintly, Evelyn's voice crackled through. Asterisk greater than don't go under. Asterisk, he froze. "Say again." Asterisk, it's under us. The signal cut. Lorna backed toward the door. "Nope, we're done here." That was then the chandelier above them moved, not swaying, shifting, as though something was crawling along the ceiling. Dust rained down. A long, dragging sound echoed through the walls, like claws on plaster. Asterisk Grant gripped his flashlight. Basement, now. Scene 4, the descent. Asterisk, the cellar door groaned open, revealing a stairway that seemed darker than it should be. The smell hit first, wet soil and rot. Asterisk as they descended. The light faded behind them until only Grant's flashlight cut through the dark. The steps seemed endless. Finally, they reached the bottom. The basement had changed. Where there had once been stone and wood, now stood a tunnel, earthen walls glistening with moisture, breathing faintly, as though alive. Asterisk carved into the dirt were hundreds of symbols, circles, hands, and open eyes. Asterisk, in the center of the chamber sat a rusted camera on a tripod. Evelyn's Asterisk Grant reached out to touch it, and the lens blinked. Asterisk A, single frame flashed across the viewfinder. Asterisk Clay's face, twisted and gray, staring directly into the camera. Asterisk then, a whisper from the dark. Asterisk, he's still filming. Scene 5, the things beneath the ground beneath them trembled. Lorna stumbled, flashlight jerking upward. Asterisk, the walls began to move, soil shifting as if something massive was crawling through it. Asterisk Grant pointed the light at the far end of the tunnel. Something was there, a shape. Asterisk humanoid, but wrong. Its limbs too long, skin slick with earth. Its face nothing but a gaping hollow. It spoke in Clay's voice, greater than stay. "We feed on what you bring." Asterisk Lorna fired her shotgun. The blast echoed, tearing through the dark, but the thing didn't fall. It split. The creature melted into the dirt, reforming behind them. Asterisk, a dozen arms reached out from the walls, grabbing her legs. Asterisk Lorna screamed as the ground opened, swallowing her whole. Her flashlight rolled to a stop beside the red toy truck, now cracked in half. Leaking blood, Grant stood frozen, gun trembling in his hand. From the hole where Lorna had vanished, whispers rose, hundreds of voices speaking at once, forming one single sentence. Asterisk, we remember the Halpans. Scene 6. The diary. Asterisk Grant stumbled backward, crashing into an old wooden chest. Inside, beneath layers of dust, he found something wrapped in yellowed cloth. A family diary. The last entry read, "Greater than March 1985, the cellar calls. It hums at night. Father says the house must feed or it dies. Tomorrow we'll go below together. Asterisk, if anyone finds this, don't follow us." Grant looked up. The hum was back. The ground pulsed beneath his feet like a living heart. Asterisk, he turned to run, but the tunnel behind him was gone. Asterisk, in its place, a wall of faces, half buried in the soil. Their mouths moved silently. One of them was Evelyn. Asterisk, scene 7. The rebirth. Asterisk. The lights of Grant's flashlight flickered weakly, barely catching motion above. The ceiling opened like a mouth, soil pouring down in thick waves. From within it, a shape began to emerge, vast, skeletal, formed from countless limbs and faces pressed together. It was the house itself, a living organism, feeding off those who entered it. The walls, the floors, the faces in the window, all part of one ancient creature that had learned to mimic humanity. Grant screamed and fired until his gun clicked empty. The thing only whispered back, asterisk, greater than. Welcome home. The ground swallowed him whole. Scene 8, the broadcast weeks later. The video surfaced online, a found footage upload to Evelyn's old channel, asterisk. Abandoned America, episode 37, The House That Eats. It showed only static for the first 10 minutes. Then, Evelyn's voice, greater than we tried to show you what's real. But some stories don't end. Asterisk, they just change owners. Asterisk, at the very end of the clip, a new figure appeared, sitting in the rocking chair, smiling faintly. Sheriff Grant Holloway, and beside him, on the floor, the red toy truck rolled slowly forward. Its side now read, "We're hungry again." The House on Hollow Creek, Part 4. The Hollow Ones, asterisk, a cinematic horror continuation for an American audience, voice ready and copyright free. Scene 1, 1 month later, asterisk, Hollow Creek was dying again. Asterisk, the sheriff's office sat half empty, phones ringing into silence. Dust coated the desks, and the missing persons board now stretched across the entire back wall. Evelyn Reed, Clay Harper, Deputy Lorna Pike, and finally, Sheriff Grant Holloway. Only one person kept showing up, Miles Carter. A freelance journalist from Portland stared at the case files. He'd been following the Hollow Creek curse for 3 years, but something about the last report didn't fit. The official statement said sinkhole collapse, but the bodies were never recovered. Asterisk, he pressed play on a USB labeled HC footage. Do not view alone. Asterisk, static. Then Evelyn's face, pale and trembling, her voice a whisper. Asterisk, if you see this, it's already awake. Asterisk, Miles froze. The screen flickered, showing the inside of the Halpin Estate's basement, the same tunnel, still breathing, but now filled with water that pulsed like veins. Asterisk, then came the whisper, deep and distant. Asterisk, greater than the house remembers. The screen went black. Scene 2, the return by dusk. Miles was already driving toward Hollow Creek. Asterisk, the forest had changed. Trees bent inward, roots crawling across the asphalt like veins. He parked near the old gate. The sign was back, the letters newly carved. Greater than Halpin Estate, welcome home. He recorded everything on his handheld camera. The wind howled low, almost like a moan. Asterisk, inside, the air was colder than outside. The smell of wet soil still lingered. He whispered into the mic, asterisk, greater than November 18th, 10:42 p.m. Entering the property. If I don't make it out, upload this to the Hollow Files archive. Asterisk, his flashlight cut across the foyer. The red toy truck sat where it always did, wheels still stained dark. The ceiling above was cracked open, as though something had forced its way through. Asterisk, he whispered again. Jesus, Grant. What happened down here? From the stairwell came a faint knock. 3 times. Slow, deliberate. Asterisk. Scene 3, the portrait room. Asterisk, Miles followed the noise into a side hallway lined with portraits. The Halpin family, painted in fading oils. The eyes seemed to follow his light. Asterisk, he stopped at one frame, the family's youngest daughter, Lily Halpin, clutching the same red toy truck. Asterisk, but something was off. The paint around her hands looked wet. He leaned closer, and the surface moved. Her painted eyes rolled. Greater than, you shouldn't have come back. Asterisk, Miles stumbled back, flashlight shaking. The hallway warped floorboards breathing beneath him, portraits twisting into gaping mouths. He bolted toward the foyer, but the door was gone. Only darkness remained. Scene 4, the voice recorder in his panic. Miles dropped his camera. When he picked it up again, the viewfinder showed someone else's footage. Lorna Pike's body cam, time-stamped 6 days before her disappearance. Asterisk, he watched as she followed Grant down the same steps into the basement. Her voice whispered through the static. Asterisk, greater than certain. The ground's moving again. Then came Grant's last words, clear and terrified. Greater than run, it's under the floor. Asterisk, the feed cut, replaced by Miles' reflection in the screen. Though he wasn't holding the camera anymore. Something behind him was. He turned. Nothing there. Then, a faint breath at his ear. Greater than keep filming. Scene 5. The hollow one's asterisk, the cellar door, opened on its own. The air that escaped was hot, metallic, wet. Miles descended, whispering into the recorder. Asterisk, greater than basement access. Air pressure dropping. I can hear movement. The walls twitched. What used to be soil was now flesh, soft, red, pulsing. Veins ran through it like vines. Embedded in the walls were faces, some recognizable from the missing persons list. Grant, Lorna, Evelyn. Asterisk, their mouths moved in unison, forming a single rasping whisper. Asterisk, we fed it once. It learned to feed itself. Asterisk, Miles lifted his camera. The floor beneath him bulged upward. Fingers, hundreds, pushing through the dirt. Asterisk, a shape rose, humanoid but hollow, its skin made of compacted soil and bone. In the chest cavity, the red toy truck glowed faintly, its wheels turning. Asterisk, it wants new names, the voices hissed. You brought one. Asterisk, Miles backed up, panting. Stay away. The thing tilted its head, empty sockets, dripping mud. Greater than, we remember the Halpins. Scene 6. The collapse. Asterisk, Miles ran. The tunnel shook violently, roots tearing through the walls. He reached the stairs, but they led upward into black water. Not air. Asterisk, he climbed anyway, gasping as the surface rippled above him. When he burst through, he was no longer in the house. Asterisk, he was outside, standing in a clearing under a crimson sky. The Halpin estate loomed across the field, perfectly whole again, its lights glowing warmly as if welcoming him home. Asterisk, a woman stood in the doorway. Evelyn, she smiled faintly. Greater than, we told you not to go under. Asterisk, he tried to speak, but his throat filled with dirt. The camera fell from his hands, landing sideways in the grass. Through the lens, Evelyn watched him sink. Asterisk, behind her. Dozens of shadowy figures stood inside the windows, the hollow ones, moving in rhythm with the pulse of the house. Scene 7. The broadcast returns. Asterisk, a week later. The Abandoned America YouTube channel uploaded another video. Asterisk, title, Episode 38. The Hollow Ones. Duration, 47 minutes. For the first 30 seconds, it was only static. Then, the footage shifted, Miles' perspective. Entering the Halpin estate, calling out Evelyn's name, asterisk, at the 15-minute mark. Viewers could see movement in the dark, faces forming in the walls. Asterisk, at 27 minutes. The screen froze on the red toy truck, perfectly clean. Rolling toward the camera. The comments section filled within hours. Greater than fake, but amazing practical effects. Asterisk, I swear I heard whispers under the audio. Asterisk, wait, why is this channel still posting? Evelyn's been missing a month. Asterisk, by dawn. The video vanished. The channel banner changed to a single sentence. Greater than we're filming again soon. Scene 8. The new owner asterisk, 6 months later. A for sale sign appeared outside the Halpin estate. Asterisk, A. Young couple from Denver bought it for a fraction of its value. Asterisk, on moving day. Their son, a quiet boy named Ryan, found something buried near the porch. A red toy truck, perfectly polished. Initials carved into the bottom. ER asterisk that night. His parents woke to the sound of wheels rolling down the hall. Asterisk Ryan stood in the doorway, smiling in his sleep. The House on Hollow Creek, Part 5. The Root of the House. Scene 1. The new family asterisk. The Halpin estate had slept for years. But hunger always wakes. Asterisk, now it belonged to the Bennetts, Mark, Diane, and their 8-year-old son. Ryan. They moved in on a bright morning when the sky above Hollow Creek looked harmless and blue. Asterisk. The realtor handed over the keys and joked about the old ghost stories. Asterisk Mark laughed. Diane didn't. Asterisk by sunset. They were unpacking boxes while Ryan explored upstairs. Asterisk, the boy stopped at the end of the hallway, the nursery. Dust floated in the golden light. Something in the corner gleamed faintly. He knelt and brushed away the cobwebs. It was a red toy truck. Asterisk. Scene 2. The playroom asterisk. Ryan brought the truck to dinner, clutching it like treasure. Asterisk found it upstairs, he said proudly. It still works. Asterisk Diane smiled weakly. Don't bring that to the table, honey. Asterisk, he set it down anyway. The wheels spun on their own, clicking once, twice, then stopping as if listening. Asterisk, Mark frowned. Probably battery powered. Asterisk, it's old, Diane whispered. They didn't have that kind back then. Asterisk, that night. Diane woke to faint giggling through the baby monitor they'd repurposed for Ryan's room. Asterisk, when she checked the feed. Ryan was sitting up in bed. Whispering, she turned the volume up. A second voice answered, small, hollow, echoing from under the floor. Asterisk, greater than we remember you. The screen went black. Scene 3. The basement door. The next morning, Mark decided to check the basement. The door had been nailed shut. Asterisk, probably mold, he said, trying to sound calm. He pried the boards loose. Asterisk, when the final nail came free. A rush of cold air swept through the hall. Asterisk, somewhere deep below. Wood creaked like a door opening itself. Asterisk, Diane appeared behind him. Mark, don't. But the door was already swinging open. A stairway led down into darkness. Moisture glistened on the walls. Asterisk, the smell hit first. Earth and iron. Mark turned on his flashlight and descended. Halfway down, his light flickered over something scratched into the wall. Asterisk, the roots feed below. Scene 4. The roots asterisk. The basement wasn't like any he'd ever seen. The air pulsed, faint but steady. Asterisk, when his light passed over the far wall. He froze. Asterisk roots, ran across the floor and ceiling, thick as cables, and they were breathing. Asterisk in the corner sat a rusted camera, half buried in dirt. He brushed it clean and found initials carved into the tripod. ER asterisk. He turned to leave and saw Ryan standing halfway down the stairs, clutching the red truck. Asterisk, buddy, what are you doing here? Asterisk. Ryan's voice was flat. They said it's dinner time. Before Mark could answer, the ground shifted. The roots began to move. Asterisk. They rose like serpents, wrapping round the boy's ankles. The red truck fell, its wheels spinning wildly as if laughing. Asterisk. Mark lunged forward, and the house swallowed him. Scene 5. The whispering walls. Asterisk. Diane woke to silence. Mark's side of the bed was cold. Asterisk. She found muddy footprints in the hallway, small ones, like a child's, leading toward the basement door. Her hands trembled as she grabbed a kitchen knife and flashlight. Ryan? No answer. She descended into the dark. Asterisk at the bottom. Her light found the roots glistening, wet, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Asterisk. Faces bulged from the walls, faint outlines pressing through the dirt. Evelyn, Clay, Grant, all whispering together. Asterisk. Greater than. The house is alive. Asterisk. In the center of the room stood Ryan, eyes glassy, smiling faintly. Asterisk. He held the red truck in both hands. They showed me Daddy. He's part of the roots now. Asterisk. Diane backed away, whispering, we're leaving. Right now. The walls groaned in response. Greater than. No one leaves once they're remembered. Scene 6. The feeding. Asterisk. The floor cracked open. A massive root burst upward, twisting through the air like a serpent. Asterisk. Diane screamed and swung the knife. Slicing into it, black blood sprayed across her arms. The root shrieked. Ryan dropped the truck. It rolled toward the edge of the hole, stopped, and began to hum. Asterisk. The hum grew deeper, shaking the walls, the ceiling, everything. Asterisk. Ryan looked up at her. His pupils were gone. Asterisk. Greater than. It's hungry again. Asterisk. The root snapped around her waist, dragging her down. Her flashlight spun across the floor, catching her reflection in the wet dirt, and another face behind her, smiling. The house exhaled. Scene 7. The quiet morning light spilled across Hollow Creek. Asterisk. Neighbors found the front door open. Coffee cups still on the table. Car in the driveway. But the Bennetts were gone. The only sound inside the house was a faint, mechanical whir, the red truck rolling in slow circles across the foyer floor. Asterisk. When the police arrived, they sealed the property again. The report said, asterisk. Family missing. Structure unstable. Area condemned. Asterisk. But at night, locals swore they could see lights flickering in the windows. Asterisk. Shadows moving behind the curtains. Asterisk. And sometimes, when the wind was still, the faint sound of a child laughing under the floorboards. The House on Hollow Creek, Part 6. The Hunger Returns, Scene 1. 20 years later, Hollow Creek had changed on the surface. The forest was thinner, the road was paved, and a new subdivision stood where the old town used to be. Asterisk. But everyone still avoided the hill where the Halpin estate once stood. Asterisk. Locals called it the Breathing Hill. Asterisk. No one built there. Not anymore, except one. Evelyn's niece, Clara Reed, a documentary filmmaker, had come to Hollow Creek to finish what her aunt started. Asterisk. She parked her SUV at the edge of the property, camera in hand. The foundation of the old mansion was gone, or so it seemed, but the air above it hummed, faint and low, like something sleeping under the earth. Asterisk, Clara pressed record. Asterisk, greater than this is Hollow Creek. 20 years after the last reported disappearance. Locals claim the land is cursed, that the house still feeds. I'm here to find out the truth. Scene 2, the warning asterisk. That evening, Clara stayed at a small roadside motel. The clerk, an old woman with foggy eyes, handed her the key and whispered, asterisk, you shouldn't have gone up there. Asterisk, Clara looked up. Excuse me? Asterisk, the house remembers. It doesn't like cameras. The woman's smile trembled, showing too many teeth. Clara forced a laugh. Well, good thing the house isn't there anymore. Asterisk, but when she looked back at the window behind the counter, she saw a reflection that wasn't hers. A little boy holding a red toy truck, staring from the dark glass. Asterisk, when she blinked, he was gone. Scene 3. The footage. Asterisk, back in her room. Clara reviewed her recordings. Asterisk, at first, everything was normal. Trees, rubble, the wind. Asterisk, then, the camera began to glitch. Asterisk, a faint voice whispered through the static. Asterisk, greater than you shouldn't have come back. Asterisk, the time stamp flickered. 1974. Clara froze. The screen showed a man she'd never seen, covered in dirt, swinging a flashlight in a basement. Asterisk, then another image. A woman, screaming, dragged into the earth. Clara dropped the camera. The whisper grew louder, almost human. Asterisk, greater than the roots feed below. Scene 4. The ground opens. Asterisk, by midnight, Clara returned to the hill. Her camera light cut through the fog like a knife. Asterisk, the soil beneath her boots throbbed faintly. Asterisk, something shifted under the dirt, slow, alive. Asterisk, she raised her camera. If you can hear me, what are you? The ground cracked open. Roots burst through the surface, glistening black, wrapping around her ankles. Asterisk, the air filled with thousands of whispers, all overlapping, all pleading. Asterisk, stay, feed, remember. The camera fell, still recording. Clara screamed and grabbed the lens, pointing it downward where she saw faces in the soil. Mark, Diane, Ryan, Evelyn. Their eyes opened. Asterisk, greater than join us. Scene 5. The broadcast. Asterisk, 3 days later. The motel clerk found Clara's SUV still parked near the hill. Asterisk, inside it was her camera, still on. Battery drained. Asterisk, when police recovered the footage, they stopped halfway through watching. Asterisk, the last minute showed the red truck rolling slowly across the dirt, stopping in front of the lens. Then, a voice whispered, greater than it's hungry again. The screen went dark. Within weeks, the developer who planned to build new homes on the hill withdrew funding. Asterisk, workers refused to enter the area. Their tools went missing, trucks wouldn't start, and one foreman claimed the ground moved when he stood on it. The site was abandoned again. Asterisk, scene 6. The return. Asterisk, months passed. The forest began to grow back. Asterisk, and one morning, hikers found something that hadn't been there before. A single front door, standing upright in the middle of the clearing. Asterisk, it wasn't attached to any walls. Just a door, painted red. Scratched into the wood were 4 words. Greater than the house remembers you. That night, from the road below Hollow Creek, People swore they saw a light flicker in the empty field, faint, yellow, like a candle burning behind a window. Asterisk, and from far away. If you listened closely, you could hear the sound of small wheels rolling across the dirt. Scene 7. The final whisper, asterisk, years later. The footage resurfaced online. Asterisk urban explorers called it the Hollow Creek tape. Asterisk millions watched it, debated it, called it fake. Asterisk but every few weeks, one viewer would post a strange comment. Asterisk, after watching this, my walls started to breathe. And every time someone played the last 30 seconds, the part where the whisper said, "It's hungry again," the sound quality changed. Asterisk, you could hear new voices in the background, faint, familiar, whispering names. Asterisk, yours among them.